Okay, hi guys, welcome to my nighttime vlog where I talk about books that I've read in the past or have just finished. So tonight we're going to be talking about Confederacy of Dunces by John F. Kennedy Toole. And so basically it's very tangled, very confusing. One of the main characters is named Ignatius Riley. He's a very big, stubborn, cranky man. He thinks he is the best man in the entire world and is smarter than everyone else, because if you ask him, he'll tell you. So his lover is Mirna Mironkov, who helps him escape from a mental asylum. Well, basically from getting picked up from mental asylum, and they go to New York together. Anyways, his mother is also Mrs. Riley, who's dating someone named Claude Robichaux, and he defends Ignatius when Officer Minusco gets in an argument with him because Ignatius is waiting outside a department store for his mother. So his mother is also an alcoholic, and it's very bad. It's very bad. She destroys her car and runs it into a wall. Anyways, so Officer Minusco is also forced to dress up into crazy costumes as a punishment. And also, it's just very confusing. And Ignatius gets attacked by a parrot. Anyways, Ignatius ends up leaving New Orleans with Mirna Mironkov, and again, who saves him from the charity hospital ambulance that pulls up literally right as they're leaving. So, I mean, that was a very quick summary, but long story short, that's kind of what happened. Okay, so one illusion that I found within the novel involves another novel I read, which is called Heart of Darkness. So basically, it's a subtle nod at Heart of Darkness, and within A Confederacy of Dunces, there's a certain line, and it says, "The true wasteland begins." So to explain that, basically Ignatius doesn't want to get a job, right? So he's like, oh no, I don't want to get a job. So he's like, this is awful, it's a wasteland. And that's a subtle nod at Heart of Darkness, because in Heart of Darkness, the wasteland was basically where the barbarians were, which is cool. So there's an illusion for you. And I'll be right back with some important quotes and explanations. Okay, so one important quote says, "It wasn't your fault though, Miss Riley. It's them police. They all a bunch of communists." So, communists were seen basically in the Cold War and as un-American. So communists were often persecuted by police. And so Claude is Mrs. Riley's fiance, I guess, lover. And so Claude reaches this high level of paranoia by believing that the police are communists themselves. And everything, the explanation is a little confusing, but the point is that the police are not equal, and they're more like themselves, I guess. So another important quote that I found was, "The total was 60 cents, a sum that limited and blocked escape routes." So basically, this explains that when you are wealthy, you have options. And if you don't have any money, you're going to get locked up and you're stuck, unless there's Mirna there to save you. So an obvious theme within the story is wealth. So wealth, of course, everyone wants it. Everyone wants to be a part of it. And it's competitive. So, I mean, there are differences here. the questions are, would Ignatius be happier if he were rich, or would he be happier if he weren't rich, right? And through the entire book, Ignatius claims to not be a part of the modern, I guess, rat race. If you've ever seen that movie, it's a great movie, Rat Race. It's great. And he's always, the entire book, he's trying to find a way to get money, but doesn't want to work. Or he's trying to hide money from his mom. One of the two. And it's very confusing, but it is such a big theme within the novel, especially with one of my quotes, with actually both my quotes, because if you're not wealthy, you're either going to get locked up by the police, the communists, or you're going to guide through life really well. I had a lot of questions throughout this book. One of them was, of course, what was the point of writing it? And I've read this book a few times, and every single time I read it, I'm laughing out loud. And then afterwards, I sit back and realize the importance of the novel itself. It's basically this man who's grown up having everything handed to him, and then now he has to find an actual job and work for what he wants, and he doesn't know how to do that, and he doesn't want to do that. So I think it's a lesson for everybody, for saying everyone grows up at some point, and everyone needs to understand that not everything in life is free, and that you aren't the only one in society. And Ignatius thought that. He thought he was the best, which isn't true. Everyone isn't equal, right? He thought he was above everyone else. And it's just, I think this book teaches an important life lesson for sure.